Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. The description has to be brief in a simple and scientific language and presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its habitat, vegetative characters, roots, stems, and leaves, and then floral characters, inflorescences, and flower parts. After describing various parts of a plant, a floral diagram and floral formula are represented. The floral formula is represented by some symbols. In the formula, BR stands for brachiate, K stands for calyx, C stands for corolla, P for perianth, A for androecium, G for gynoecium, Z dash for superior ovary, G upper for inferior ovary, for male, for female, for bisexual, and for actinomorphic, to versus zygomorphic. Nature of flower fusion is indicated by enclosing the figure within Various morphological features are used to describe flowering plants. Various morphological features are used to describe the flowering plants. Morphological features are used to describe the flowering plants. The description has to be brief and simple and scientific language. In simple and scientific language is presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its habitat, vegetative character, roots, stem and leaves, and then floral characters. Influences and flower parts. How is a Harry described? Various morphological features are used to describe a various morphological features are used to describe the flowering plant. Okay, various morphological characters are used to describe the flowering plants. Various morphological features are used to describe the flowering plants. The description has to be brief. In a simple and scientific language. And presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its first habitat, second vegetative character, roots, stems and leaves, and last two was a floral character, inflorescence and flower parts. How is a plant is described? Description of plants. Description of plants. First two was a habitat, second was a vegetative characters. First third two was a flower appendages, and then floral characters, inflorescence and flower parts. Floral characters and influences. Floral characters and inflorescence and flower parts. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. The description has to be brief in a simple and scientific language and presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its habitat, তাৰপিছত vegetative characters, root, stem, and then একবাৰ last floral characters, inflorescence and flower parts. After describing various parts of a plant, a floral diagram and a floral formula are presented. Floral diagram. After describing various part of a flower, a floral diagram and floral formula are presented. The floral formula is represented by some symbols. First two is a BR is for brachiate. K2 is a calyx. C2 is a corolla. P for superior ovary. Z dash for superior ovary. P for perianth. variant, P for variant, P for variant, A for Anderson, A for Anderson, A for Anderson, G for Dimension, G for Dimension, G test for superior ovary, for superior ovary, G for C test, superior, inferior, inferior, female, bisexual, first, given various morphological features are used to describe flowering plants. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plants. Various morphological features. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plants. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plants. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plants. The description has to be brief, in a simple and scientific language, and presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its habitat. First is a habitat, তাৰপিছত হৈছে vegetative character like stem, roots and leaves. Stem, roots and leaf. Stem, roots and leaves, and then floral characters, inflorescence, floral characters, inflorescence and flower parts, floral characters, inflorescence and flower parts. After describing various parts of a plant, a floral diagram and a floral formula is presented. The floral formula is represented by symbols. First two is a BR is for brachiate, C is for calyx, K is for calyx, C is for corolla, P is for perianth. In floral, stands for BR stand, K stand for C for corolla, P for perianth, A for androecium, G for gynoecium, G dash for superior ovary, G hairy for inferior ovary, F for male, little female, for bisexual, plus for actinomorphic, and for zygomorphic nature of flower. Fusion is indicated by enclosing the figure within bracket and adhesion by a line. Fusion is indicated. Fusion is enclosing the figure within bracket and adhesion by a line drawn above the symbol of the floral part. Above the symbol of the floral part. Fusion is indicated by enclosing the figure within bracket and adhesion by a line drawn above the symbols of the floral part. Adhesion. Fusion is indicated. Various morphological features are used. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. The description has to be brief, in a simple and scientific language. Presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its habitat, terms of vegetative characters, roots, stem and leaves, and then floral characters, inflorescence, flower parts. After describing various parts of floral diagram and floral formula presented. The floral formula is represented by some symbols: BR brachiate, K calyx, C corolla, P for perianth, A for androecium, G for gynoecium, G dash superior ovary, G hairy, inferior ovary, male, female, bisexual, plus is for actinomorphic, zygomorphic is hairy. Fusion is indicated by enclosing the figure with bracket and adhesion by a line drawn above the symbols of the floral parts. The symbols of the floral part drawn above the symbols of the floral part. A floral diagram provides information about the number of parts of a flower, the arrangement relation they have with one another. The position of the mother axis with respect to the flower is represented by a dot. The position of the mother axis with respect to the flower is represented by a dot at the top of floral diagram. Calyx, corolla, androgyne, and gynozyme are drawn in successive order. First calyx. Master actinomorphic bisexual. K is calyx. Calyx is 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2, 4 without hairy. C, 4. Corolla is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 with a 4. G dash superior ovary. Superior ovary 2, 1 and 2. Superior ovary. Superior ovary. Actinomorphic bisexual K2 plus 2. C for A to floral diagram. 5.20 represent family Brassicaceae. Floral diagram of master plan. Family Brassicaceae. Master for Brassicaceae. Master Brassicaceae. Master and 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 Brassicaceae. Master Brassicaceae family of the people. Floral diagram of master. The floral form of master plan. Master plan. Master plan. Master plan. Brassicaceae. Master plan, Brassicaceae, 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 master plans and Brassicaceae. Brassicaceae की है फर्स्ट तो वैसे एक्टिनोमॉर्फिक प्लस तो वैसे एक्टिनोमॉर्फिक माने एनी प्लान कैन डिवाइड इनटू टू इक्वल पार्ट्स एक्टिनोमॉर्फिक তাৰপিছত এইটো হ'ব bisexual calyx 2 plus 2 তাৰপিছত corolla is same 2 plus 2 corolla 4 উপরটা খেলে তলরটা খেলে নর্মাল খেলে 4 a 2 plus 4 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 steps are to be equal C superior ovary 2 So it has various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. The description has to be brief in a simple and scientific language and presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its habitat, vegetative characters. How is a plant described? Plant is described through three ways. First to is a habitat, next to is a vegetative, and next to is a floral and floral characters, inflorescence and flower parts. After describing various parts of a plant, a floral diagram and a floral formula is presented. A floral diagram and floral formula is presented. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. The description has to be brief in a simple and scientific language and presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its habitat, vegetative characters, roots, stems and leaves, and then floral characters, inflorescence and flower parts. After describing various parts of a plant, a floral diagram and a floral formula are presented. The floral formula is represented by some symbols. BR is for brachiate, K is for calyx, C is for corolla, C is for corolla, P is for perianth, A is for endoecium, G is for gynoecium, G dash is for superior ovary, G report is for inferior ovary. Superior ovary তাৰপিছত এইটো male, female, bisexual, actinomorphic, zygomorphic, and fusion is indicated by enclosing the figure within bracket and adhesion by a line drawn from the symbols of the floral parts. A floral diagram provides information about the number of parts of a flower. What does a floral formula do? A floral diagram provides information about the number of parts of flower, their arrangement and relation they have with one another, the position of the mother axis. The position of the mother axis with respect to the flower is represented by a dot on the top of the floral diagram. On the top of the floral diagram, calyx and corolla, endoecium and gynoecium are drawn in successive whole. First calyx, তাৰপিছত corolla, তাৰপিছত endoecium, তাৰপিছত gynoecium একদম ভিতৰত. Calyx, corolla, endoecium and gynoecium, calyx, corolla, endoecium and gynoecium, calyx, corolla, endoecium and gynoecium. Floral also shows adhesion and cohesion within the parts of flower between holes. The floral diagram and floral formula in 5 point represent the plant mustard oil, brassicaceae, mustard plant, brassicaceae. Actinomorphic 2+2 with 2 4 তাৰপিছত with 2+6 আৰু G dash 2 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 G dash 2. Okay. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. Okay. The description has to be brief. Okay. Has to be brief. The description has to be brief. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. Okay, various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. Morphological features. Morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. The description has to be brief, simple, and scientific language, and presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its first two has a habitat, next two has a vegetative characters, that is roots, stems, and leaves. Then floral characters, inflorescence and flower parts, floral and flower parts. After describing the various parts of a plant, a floral diagram and floral formula are presented. The floral formula represented by some symbol. In the floral formula, BR stands for bracket, K stands for calyx, C for corolla, K for calyx, C for corolla, P for perianth, A for endoecium, G for gynoecium, C dash for superior ovary, D dash for inferior ovary, male, female. Fusion is indicated by enclosing the diagram, enclosing the figure within bracket, enclosing the figure within bracket, and adhesion by a line drawn above the symbols of the floral part, above the flowers of the flower parts. A floral diagram provides information about the number of parts of a flower, their arrangement, and the relation they have within one another. First two হৈছে কি হয় arrangement, number of parts, তাৰপিছত relationship between one another. The position of the mother axis with respect to is represented by the dot, and the top of the flower diagram, calyx, corolla, endoecium, and gynoecium are drawn in successive holes. calyx being the outermost, calyx X being the outermost, and gynoecium being in the center. Floral formula also shows cohesion and adhesion within parts of whole. Plus 1. Cohesion and adhesion. Cohesion and adhesion within the parts of the flower and between holes in floral diagram. The floral formula is represented mustard oil, then brassic acid. Brassic acid, mustard oil, brassic acid, mustard oil, brassic acid, mustard oil, brassic acid, 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 brassic acid. Basic acid, 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 basic acid. Basic acid, basic acid, basic acid, basic acid, basic acid, basic acid, basic acid. Basic acid, basic acid, basic acid, basic acid, basic acid, basic acid, basic acid. Mommy don't know that it's getting hot. Description of some important family. First was a Fabaceae. This family was earlier called Papillonoideae, a subfamily of family Leguminous. It is distributed all over the world. First to Papilionoidea. This family was earlier called Papilionoidea. Fabaceae. It is a subfamily of Leguminaceae. Papilionoidea. A subfamily of the family Leguminaceae. It is distributed all over the world. Papilionoidea. A subfamily. Vegetative characters: trees, shrubs, herbs, roots with root nodule. Vegetative characters, first of all, এটা কৈছিলে ফাৰ্ষ্টতে কি কি কোৱা হয় ফাৰ্ষ্টটো হেবিটেট তাৰপিছত হেৰি Papilionoidea. This family was earlier called as Papilionoidea. This family was earlier called Papilionoidea. The family was earlier called Papilionoidea, a subfamily of Leguminaceae. leguminaceae. It is distributed all over the world. It is distributed all over the world. Vegetative characters কি কি আহে trees, shrubs, herbs, trees, shrubs আৰু কি আহে এইটো হেৰি root with root nodules, root with root nodules, root with root nodules, root with root nodules, trees, shrubs, herbs, root with root nodules, trees, shrubs, herbs, root with root nodules, trees, shrubs, herbs, root with root nodules, trees, herbs, root with root nodules. Stem, it can be erect or climber. Erect or climber. Erect or climber. It can be erect or climber. Leaves alternate. Alternate থাকে. Leaves are alternate, pinnately compound or simple leaf. Palmately compound থাকে. Pinnately compound or simple leaf. Simple or pinnately compound মানে compound leaf. They are alternate. Opposite নহয়. First to হৈছে alternate. Alternate, pinnately compound or simple leaf. Leaf piece থাকে, pulvinate form হয় because হেৰি stipules থাকে, venation reticulate. Venation is reticulate. Reticulate to কাৰ কাৰণে হয় dipot. Monopodৰ কাৰণে হেৰি dipot আৰু এইবিলাকটো dipot হয়. So এইটো ফাৰ্ষ্টটো হয় alternate, তাৰপিছত pinnately compound or simple হয় leaf base, pulvinate, stipulate and venation is reticulate and venation is reticulate and the venation is reticulate. Fabaceae, Papilionoideae. It is subfamily of Leguminaceae. It is distributed all over the world. Vegetative characters, trees, shrubs and herbs. Root with root nodules. Stem erect or climber. Leaves to hoise first alternate, pinnately compound or simple leaf. Leaf base, pulvinate, stipulate আৰু venation reticulate. Venation is reticulate. এইটো হৈছে Pisum sativum, flowering twig. A is flowering twig. B is flower. C is petal. D is reproductive part. E is LS of carpel. And F is floral diagram. Pisum sativum P, এইটো হৈছে flowering twig. এইটো flower, petals, reproductive parts, LS of carpel and floral diagram. Pisum sativum P হয়, P planter হয় এইটো P, তাৰপিছত এইটো কি হয় flowering twig, flower, petals, reproductive part, LS of carpel etc. Floral characters, inflorescence is racemose. First হৈছে alternate, pinnately compound or simple leaf, leaf base, pulvinate, stipulate and venation is reticulate. So inflorescence is racemose. Racemose का मतलब हेरी जो acropetal order. Racemose depend on whether the apex gets developed into a flower, continues to grow. Two major type racemose type of the main axis continues to grow. The flowers are born laterally in acropetal succession. Racemose. এইটো হৈছে racemose. তাৰপিছত flower is bisexual or zygomorphic. Mustard is also bisexual. Fabaceae is also bisexual and zygomorphic মানে হৈছে অকল হেৰি দুটা প্লেনে কাটিব পাৰে, সব প্লেনে কাটিলে ইকুৱেল নহ'ব, দুটা প্লেনে কাটিলেহে ইকুৱেল হ'ব. Zygomorphic, bisexual. Calyx sepals 5. Gamosepalous, velvet / imbricate estivation. Velvet or imbricate. Corolla, sepals 5, petals 5. Eto pentamerous hobo. Fabaceae is pentamerous, polypetalous. Papilionaceae consisting of a posterior standard, 2 lateral wings, 2 anterior ones forming a keel, enclosing stamens and pistil, maxillary estivation. Petals 5 polypetalous. Papilionaceous, papilionady. Androecium 10, Diadelphus, Anther dicteus. Gynoecium ovary superior, monocarpillary, unilocular with many ovule style, single. Fruit legume seed 1 to many, non-endospermic. Floral formula zygomorphic, bisexual, tuples 5, Corolla 5, 2 plus 2 লাষ্টৰ দুটা জইন হয়, এণ্ড্ৰচিয়াম 10, গোটেইকেইটা জইন, এটা জইন নহয়। তাৰপিছত গাইনচিয়াম ইজ G1. Sources of pulses: dye, indigofera, fodder, sespiana, triflorium ornaments, lupin, sweet pea, medicine, muletti. Sources of pulses. 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 Pulses, medicine, ornamentals, dye, indigofera, gram, arhar, sen, moong dal, soybean, edible oil, soybean and groundnut. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, groundnut. Indigofera is a dye. Fibers was a fibers. Sun hemp, fodder, sesbiana, triflorium, ornamentals, lupic, sweet pea, and medicine muletti. Medicine is 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 muletti. 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 Medicine is muletti. Medicine is muletti. Medicine is muletti. Medicine is muletti. Okay. Sources of pulses. 1. Fibers. First one is sources of pulses: gram, arhar, sen, moong, soybean, edible oil, soybean and groundnut. Dyes, indigofera. Dye is an example of indigofera. 2. Indigofera, fiber. 3. Sun hemp. Next to was fodder. Fodder is sesbian. Fodder meaning fodder, sesbiana and triflorium, ornamentals, lupin, sweet pea, medicine, muletti, etc. Bisexual, K5, C5. sources of pulses. One, sources of pulses: dye, indigofera, fiber, sunhemp, fodder, thespian, and trifloium. Ornamentals: lupin, sweet potato, sweet pea. Medicine is muleti. Medicine is muleti. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. The first video. Gram arhar, same. Gram means summer. Arhar dal, same. Moon, soybean, gram, same. Indigofera, 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 indigofera. Indigofera দেখিলো indigofera is a নামতে আছে indigofera next to হৈছে fiber sun Sun hemp is an example of fiber. Sun hemp example is a fiber. Gram, arhar, same, moong, soybean, edible oil, and groundnut. Same, gram, arhar, same, moong, soybean oil, edible oil, and groundnut. Dye is indigofera. Fiber, sun hemp. Fodder meaning fodder, F-O-D-D-E-R, F-O-D-D-E-R, fodder. Espania meaning fodder, food specially dried hair or straw for cattle and livestock. Fodder, food for Sespania fodder. Trifolium, Sespania. Trifolium. ST. Ornamental, lupin, sweet pea. Lupin and sweet pea. Lupin, ornamental, lupin, sweet pea. Bisexual, actinomorphic acid, bisexual, actinomorphic. 2, 6, 2 plus 4, bisexual same calyx 5 calyx 5 corolla 6. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. The description has to be brief, simple and scientifically language and present in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with habitat, vegetative features and floral feature, appendages or floral parts. After describing various parts of a flower, a floral diagram and a floral formula represented. The floral formula is represented by some symbols. In floral formula, B are bracket, K is calyx, C is corolla, P for perianth, A for androecium, G for gynoecium, G for superior ovary, G dash for inferior ovary, A2 for male, A2 female, bisexual plant, actinomorphic, zygomorphic, nature of flower. Fusion is indicated by bracket and closing bracket and adhesion by a line drawn above the symbols of the floral part. A floral diagram provides information about the number of parts, total chida, number of parts, arrangement, relationship with one another, and last one, fusion. A floral diagram provides information about the number of parts of a flower, their arrangement, their relationship they have with one another. The position of the mother axis with respect to the flower is represented by a dot on the top of the floral diagram. Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium are drawn in successive whole. Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium are drawn in array. Floral formula also shows cohesion and adhesion. 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 Cohesion and adhesion within parts of whole. Parts of whole between holes. The floral diagram and formula represented by is mustard brassicaceae. First to key hoy actinomorphic actinomorphic bisexual K4 E24 4 androecium is 2 plus 4 is 6 and gynoecium is 2. Gynoecium is 2. Gynoecium is 2. Next to is a Fabaceae Pepi lion oily. Pepi lion oily is a subfamily of Leguminosae. It is distributed all over the world. all over the world. Herbs, shrubs, roots with nodules, stem erect or climbers, leaves alternate, pilotly compound or simple leaf, leaf base, pulvinous, stipulate, venation reticulate, venation is reticulate, অকল monocotyl হেৰি inflorescence they show racemose bisexual and zygomorphic, sepals 5 chemosepalous attached, velvet and imbricate estivation, 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 velvet and imbricate estivation. Corolla to hoise petals 5 polypetalous, papillonosus consists of posterior standard 2 lateral wings, 2 anterior ones for forming leaves, and so as tendencies of axillary estivation. Androecium 10 didelphus, anther diethysius. Gynoecium ovary superior, monocarpillary, unilocular with many ovules and style single fruit, legume seed, 1 to many, non-endospermic. I don't know what is non-endospermic, but it's non-endospermic. Floral formula K5 1 plus 2 plus 2 bracket 9 plus 1 is equal to C. Many examples. First two is for pulses, sources of pulses. Next to is fiber, sources of pulses. Next to is for dye indigofera, তাৰপিছত fibers, তাৰপিছত এইটো fibers পিছত fodder, fibers fodder, FS fibers, fodder, sesame, trichlorium, ornamental, lupin, sweet pea and medicine. Lumin, sweet pea, ornamentals, lupin and sweet pea, और এইটো হৈছে medicinal কিতাপটো হৈছে মুলেঠি